What's up, chat? It's your boy Tomo here, and today I got you guys a new video of the settings for Black Ops 7 and Warzone, and for the upcoming season, season 3, as you may know. Um, Here is my whole full, button layout. I have a weird button layout, but I play Call, so you don't really have to copy everything that I have on here, but if you want to, you can. I mean, it depends on how you play and how skillful you are. But here's my settings. I would recommend, with the settings that I do have, I would recommend to at least try to copy the dead zone instead of my horizontal and vertical. My horizontal and vertical is just, it's high, but I wouldn't expect certain players who are really new to to the COD community to really even try to copy this. It took me dedicated months and a couple years just to get to the point where I can play on this high sensitivity, and I can learn how to master it skillfully. um but yeah, the simplify controls preset, you don't really have to change that. The low motor strain preset, you don't really change that. Anything like this is extra stuff, you don't really have to change it. But here's the dead zone inputs that I was talking about earlier. Really, if you really want to use your left stick man and you have a little bit of stick drift, I would recommend bump it up to like a 2 or 3, not to a 5. But if it's very sensitive, I would bump it up to a 5. With the left stick max, if you want less like movement with your left stick, which I recommend dropping down a lot more, because I know there's a lot of, if you do combine, like I said, to the stick drift, if you do have a lot of stick drift, I would recommend 100% dropping down the left stick max, so there can be less contact on your left stick, so it really wouldn't have an effect on your gameplay. But if you do, as you can see, I bumped my right stick up to a 5, because that's the stick that I mostly use for any game that I play, that requires a lot of movement with my right stick, which is moving around. And so I bump it up to a 5 due to stick drift. My right stick max, put it at a 96 because I want to move more. And my L2 button dead zone, my R2 button dead zone is a 4. Even though I don't fire and ADS, I don't use that on L2 and R2 anymore like I used to back in the day. But either way, you can still use it. Really doesn't matter. My aiming sensitivity multiplier, you don't really have to change really much on this. You can make the ADS sensitivity multiplier go on focus to 0.75. It gives that little motion of like just a little slow, not too fast. Just a little bit slow, so so you can really focus on the enemy that's in front of you. Here's my aim advanced settings as well. I play on linear. I don't play on dynamic. I feel like dynamic, the S curve, it's really messes me up on my aiming. But linear, it keeps it keeps me centered a lot more, and I mastered the tweaking. Like I said, I mastered some of the stuff that I changed, and so I mastered my aiming on this game a lot, and I played this game for a while, so that's my type of way of playing this game. Here's my aim response cursor scale to 0.00. Here's my custom sensitivity per zoom. Now, this is the most important part. If you really want to change this, I would say if you have a friend or a peer or anything like that, you should ask them if they have a recommended custom sensitivity per zoom when they're playing COD. I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people play on 1.0. They're the basic type of people, but some people are good like that, but some people aren't, because they want a difference, and they play a certain way, so they want to keep it that way. And so, but yeah, I would say the ADS sensitivity multiplier could be a 0.55. Now with all of this, you can change it if you want, but other than that, you really don't have to change it. But I would 100% change the ADS sensitivity multiplier, or you can ask a friend of yours. But if you're the basic type guy that wants to play on an ADS sensitivity multiplier 1.0, I mean, I that's great for you, I guess. I don't blame you, bro. Here's my movement area. This part is it's based off, like I said, the right stick. it's really based off, you know, just the movement, you know, with your right stick a lot. And so here is my movement settings. I have on tactical sprint assist. You should always have that on. You should not have that off. I don't know why would you have that off, but you should always have that on. Your sprint assist delay, you do not want that on. You want to keep that at 0. Your sprint assist sideways, keep it on. Your sprint assist backwards, keep it on. Your mantle assist, turn it off. Your crouch assist, turn it off. Your corner slice. Now, if you're the type of person that likes, you know, well, the type of person that would play R6 or anything like that, that likes to just, you know, peek through the corners or, you know, certain areas. You're just that, you know, type of advanced type of guy that wants, you know, shoot in certain corners in weird ways, you know, that make people think or predict that, you know, you're probably cheating. I mean, you could turn it on, but if you the type of person, like I said, the basic player who wants to play the normal way, you could turn this off. Wall jump assist, you don't need that on. That can mess you up, but with other people, you know, they're that type of person. Combat roll assist, put it on always. With slight behavior, well, this mainly for the combat roll assist. That'll be always useful for like open world type multiplayer games or Warzone. So I always recommend keep that on. Keep that on. I would never turn it off. With slide dive behavior, I'll put it on tap to slide, or you can put it on hybrid. But the reason why I'll put mine on tap to slide is because, you know, it's been like that for years, and, you know, I want to keep that how it is because I never want to change it, and it's, you know, I never want to, you know, mess up, you know, my groove, you know. Here is my slide dive activation delay. Keep that on short. You never want to keep this on long. Probably the default is probably on long. I don't know, I forgot, but you want to keep it on short. The automatic airborne mantle, you want to turn it off. I remember a couple months ago I had this on. I didn't recognize I had it on, so you should completely turn it off. The sprint restore, turn it on all these settings right here. Just copy all these. Some of these are just default and some of these aren't, but, you know, just copy these just for the benefit of you. Here are the combat settings. Put that on hold. The aim down sight behavior, keep that on hold. The weapon mount activation, you want to put that on ADS plus melee. Melee. Your dedicated melee weapon activation, put that on hold. These, I believe all of these are all basic, so, or default, so you really don't have to change any of this. So to the graphics, these are my graphic settings. They're not, you know, but these are mine. It's just for my vision. I personally wear glasses, so this is personally for me and only me. But if you would like to copy it, you can. My world motion blur is off. My weapon motion blur is off. So we are now in the view category. This portion is just mainly about, you know, your sight from far to near. For the field of view, mine is at 120, but if you really play on like a 100 or the default version of the field of view, I recommend to not change it. You play how you play. I don't want to, you know, change any sort of, you know, vision difficulty that causes you, you know, to have a certain issue in that area when you play, you know, your game. So I don't want to change that for you. My ADS field of view is affected. My weapon field of view is very wide. I wouldn't recommend playing on default or narrow. I would always put it on wide. Everybody in the COD community is playing on wide, so I suggest you put it on wide, and as well as ADS field of view. For the third person field of view, I'll put that on 90. I think that's default. Not sure, but yeah. The vehicle field of view is on wide. Also, these two right here, for the first person camera movement and third person camera movement, put it at least 50%. Not default to 100%. That's not good. You will figure that out real fast, and I really don't have to explain that. For the third person ADS transition, your first person ADS, you should put that on first person. For the inverted flashbang, if you have problems with the, you know, like very bright light, I suggest you turning this on. Like I do, I have a very, very, very bad issue with a very bright light, so I recommend, for those people who have those, you know, certain issues with their vision, I put those on, you know, on, or people who want to do it just to do it because, you know, other people are doing it. I suggest putting it on. For the audio, I have my master game volume at 100, my gameplay music volume at 0, my dialogue volume at 40, my effects volume at 100, and my cinematic music volume at 30. You don't really need your gameplay music volume. They copyright you anyway if you try to, upload a video or anything like that. So I wouldn't suggest putting it on. I turn this on because my headphones are very advanced and very highly recommended on, the certain website that I got it off of. I'm not gatekeeping, it's just I don't want to share it. The audio mix, I would always put that on Sucker Punch. You don't really need a advanced headset like I do to really have this on, so it's there. They already provided for you. With mono audio, you can turn it on if you want, if you want to hear it left and right. These settings here, that's your option to change. I really don't want to change that for you. These are just default settings as well. So now we're in the interface section. I didn't really change anything major here except for the server latency, the packet loss, and the clock. Those are the only things that changed, and these two right here. Nothing really major here except for this. Here's the color customization. Really changed too much here. These are just cloud community settings. Same thing here. But if you see anything that you want to change, I mean, by no means, bro, you can change it. Not stopping you. But yeah, those are my settings for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and the new season to come. If you really have a question about anything regarding my settings or anything like that, just leave a comment. I will quickly reply. I reply to anything really fast. So if not, I'll most likely possibly get to it later or late at night or anything like that. But yeah. Soon there will be some uploads of my gameplay soon with different certain guns. I will most likely be uploading, I know, next week. I do have a video to upload. I have actually 2 videos, so make sure we tap into those, especially my fem folks. But I appreciate you guys looking at this video, and yeah, hope you guys have a great day and a great night if it's night for you. Peace.